A quick review of a couple of different concepts here, and then you should definitely go over this lesson. First thing is the exponent rules. This is multiplication. So if I have multiplication, I'm going to multiply the coefficients, -6, but then remember you add the exponents. So that would be x to the 5th and y, and don't forget there's a 1 there, y to the 3rd. Okay, so that's multiplying. When you have a power to a power, the rule is, remember, everything gets an exponent. Everything gets an exponent. So now I'm going to take the 3 here and I'm going to distribute that to each exponent. So it becomes 3 to the 3rd, x to the 6th, and y to the 3rd. And now I simplify. 3 to the 3rd is 27, and the rest of it just stays. Division. So I'm going to divide. I'm going to separate this into parts. So I'm going to take the coefficient part right here, and I'm just going to reduce that. So those are divisible by 3, so I get 4 over 5. Then I take the next part, which is the x's, and I have x to the 4th and x squared. Well, there's 2 more x's down here on the bottom, so the x squared goes on the bottom. And then I'm going to take the y's, and remember there's a y to the 1st, so I have a y to the 5th over y, which gives me a y to the 4th, but that's on top because there's more y's on top. Remember, where there's more x's or y's or z's or whatever variable it is, that's where they end up, either the numerator or the denominator. Factoring, a quick factoring review. I'm going to go through several different types here. First one is GCF, greatest common factor. So I'm going to divide each of these. They're both divisible by 2x. So now I'm going to divide them both by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. X squared divided by x is x. Minus, and then 2x divided by 2x is 1. Remember, whenever you take a number divided by itself, it is 1. Next thing on here is a difference of perfect squares. A difference of perfect squares is going to be x plus 3 and x minus 3. Remember, we're taking the square root of x squared, which is x, square root of 9, which is 3. Signs are different, and our binomials are the same except for the signs. A trinomial to 2 binomials. Remember, the whole idea of this came from factors of 8 that add to be 6. Okay, and we can read it backwards. Factors of 8 that add to be 6. So factors of 8 that add to be 6. Here's my x and x. Would be 4 and 2. The signs are the same, and they're both positive. The other way we did this back when we first learned how to do this was, here's the factors of 8 that add to be 6. Here's my 4 and 2, and then we just have to input those into our binomials. Okay? Same sort of idea. Factors of 8 that subtract to be -2. So factors of 8 that subtract to be -2. Here's my x and x. Here would be my 4, my 2, and now the signs are different, and the larger one is negative. Signs are different, larger one is negative. Of course, you could always go, here's -8 and here's -2, and that's -4 and +2, and then put those into your binomials. Okay, now, a little bit different. See if you remember, this was the looping idea, so we have factors of 3, 1, and 3, factors of 5, 1, and 5. The middle term has to subtract to be 14. So we could try our different ideas, but here's 3 times 5, which is 15. 1 times 1, which is 1. Those subtract to be 14. Here's my 1x and 3x. That's from the first part of the binomial, or of the trinomial. And then the 3 gets multiplied by the 5. That's right there in my FOIL. That's my inner. And the 3 gets and the 1 gets multiplied by the 1. Signs are different. The larger multiplication is positive. 3 times 5 is much larger than 1 times 1. If you have to, which is fine, you could also go to this. So we have our 3x squared and our negative 5. We multiply diagonal. We multiply diagonal to get negative 15 x squared. And then this middle term here goes down here, 14x. So now we say factors of negative 15 that combine to be 14 would be 15x and negative 1x. And then they go in here, 15x and negative 1x. And now we start to take a GCF. Well, this is going to be a 1x here and a 3x here. If this is 3x, then this has to be 5. And if this is 5 on this side, then this has to be a negative 1. And then we have 1x times negative 1 to get us negative 1. And then we simply write our binomials right here. Okay? One more time. My factors of 2, 1 and 2. My factors of 6, 1 and 6, 2 and 3. The middle term has to add to be 7. So middle term adds to be 7. I have 4 and I have 3. Those add to be 7. So now I fill in my binomials, 1x and 2x. The 1 gets multiplied by the 3. No, not there. 1 gets multiplied by the 3 here. And then the 2 gets multiplied by the 2 there. Signs are the same. They're both positive. If I did it the other way, here's my box. I have 2x squared and I have 6. Multiplied diagonal, that's 12x squared. Middle term drops in, 7x. What multiplies to be 12x adds to be 7 would be 3x and 4x. Okay, those get thrown in here, 3x and 4x. And now I'm taking out a GCF. 2x here, x here. If this is x, then this has to be 3. If this is 3, then this has to be 2. And double check, 2x times 2 is 4x. And if I check x plus 2 and 2x plus 3. And that is a super quick review of different concepts that took us a lot of time. Good luck. Try the whole lesson. Make sure you give it a try. This is good stuff. Have a great day.